Alright, so here are this week's comic reviews. One thing I do want to mention, I'm glad we're doing the second cut of this, so I can now reiterate this fact. To reiterate this, is that these are not new comic days. Like, it's not like the comics that are out this week that I'm reading, or the ones from last week that I'm reading. No. These are comics, these are back issues from, like, way before. I think the newest one I have is probably, let's see. I think the first one is the newest book I own. And even that's like, what, 2015 at best. But these are ones for they're all for my PC, and pretty much this entire pile of books has been my PC. There'll only be 4 books, 4 comics in the next the reviews I'm trying to say like in a whole pile in general, but I wasn't. But basically, there's 4. There's gonna be 4. If you like add them all up, like, okay, he read this pile of books and these books were included. If you're counting that pile, then only 4 of them will be library books. Now the library comics, library books. I don't know why I need to reiterate that it's comics and not books. But the library comics, those ones I got after the fact. They're all ones that I have not shown off before. Because usually what I'll do is I'll show off. It'll be a big pile of comics. I'll be like, here's the books I'm reading for the month of July. And that'll be this big huge pile. And I did take out 3 of them. I had to for one of them, and then the other 2 I just did not want to read them. Like when I got to JLA Tower Babel, I was like, I'm already behind my reading, and I remember this one being pretty long. There's a lot of dialogue in it, and I kind of took it out, and I was like, I don't know how to reread it anyways. But next time I will be rereading JLA. But no Conan, Ex Machina, or JLA Tower Babel will be reviewed in this video or the next video of the comic reviews. But I will be showing it off as books I'll be reading for the tail end of July going into August kind of thing. Now that video, so hopefully for the next pile of books that I get from this time from the library, hopefully I'll get those with plenty of time to finish them before I go away on vacation on August 12th. If anything, I want to try and get it to, I have the following pile of library comics I bring with me on vacation. That's going to be a bit complicated even with my system, if you will. Just getting it from the one. Anyways, that's in the future, so let's get to the present. The comic reviews. First up, we have Call of Duty Zombies. And with a title like that, you shouldn't really expect much. And I wasn't expecting anything from this comic. I wanted just a stupid, fun story that I don't need a gripping story. I don't need the next, that was super stutter that I just did. I don't need the next best, the most groundbreaking war comic ever to be put to paper. I don't need it to be like Garth Ennis levels of good. I just want some dumb fun. And this did not even accomplish my lowest expectations. Even my lowest expectations were not met. This, first of all, the title is a lie. There's hardly any zombies in this comic. I lost the plot like right away because it was just stupid. And honestly, this is a rejected Hellboy script. I think this is a rejected Hellboy, comic, not script. This is a rejected Hellboy comic. They brought this Dark Horse for Hellboy, and Mike Mignola said, not even on your best day, not even with your best luck, am I going to publish this under the Hellboy name. And then Call of Duty was like, hey, we have a new game coming out, right? Because let's see actually when this came out. So I honestly want to say it was Call of Duty Zombies 2. First edition. Thank you for not saying it right away, but you say where it was published, like the place it was published in. No, May 2019. I was way off. So I guess the new Call of Duty was coming out around. They're coming out every year nonstop. So yes, there was one coming out, and then they said, "Hey, let's publish a comic," because as you all know, everyone who plays Call of Duty also reads comics. I'm sure there's a good number of people who play the games and are interested in, hey, what if Call of Duty became a comic book series? Yeah, this is not it. I cannot imagine any Call of Duty fan liking this book. It's not even dumb fun, it is just stupid. And it's, again, a rejected Hellboy comic. And honestly, this is from Justin Jordan. I'm currently reading his Luther Strode, and that is dumb fun, while also just being an investing story. Like, it's everything that I expected this book to be, honestly, and more, of course. Like, Luther Strode is not just dumb fun. It is actually, it does have a good, engaging plot to it, and, you care for the characters and all of that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Call of Duty Zombies is an absolute fluke, I think is the word. Absolute dud. Did not finish, honestly. This is only 4 issues. It's a thin comic. I almost didn't finish it. No wonder why this was in a bargain bin. 3 out of 10, do not recommend. Honestly, 2 out of 10. Jimmy's Bastards is dumb fun. This is from Garth Ennis, so it's kind of funny I was just talking about him, so we kind of do come full circle. And this one is nowhere near as good as this Preacher, and it's not going to be. I didn't expect it to be, even the first time I read it. But this honestly has hints of Grant Morrison in there, too. There was, I think it was especially in the first issue, with the way that the way the dialogue is written, the way that the story is, and honestly, even the way the artwork is, it really reminded me of a Grant Morrison comic. So I wouldn't say specifically The Filth, but it did, yeah, no, I would say that. It really reminded me of Grant Morrison's The Filth. So it was basically Garth Ennis' version of that. And it goes its own direction too. Like, after a while, like, I no longer saw Grant Morrison, and even then, it reminds me of Grant Morrison. Not it's ripping off Grant Morrison's The Filth. It just reminds me of Grant Morrison in his writing in general. Like, the way that he writes The Filth, that kind of style of writing for Grant Morrison. That's what a part of this comic really felt like. And this is just as engaging as The Filth is. And unfortunately, I did not get volume 2. So this is not from Image Comics. And those of you guys who know me will know me. Those of you who've been watching this channel for long enough will know that I've just collect Image. Physical comics that I collect, like physical comics, like not digital, physical. Those ones, I don't know why I'm over-explaining. Those are all Image. Now, library books, whatever publisher, Kindle sales, whatever publisher. If I do end up getting like floppies, like not trades, I will get any other publisher, but for the most part, it's been all Image and nothing but Image. For many, many reasons, and this pile to fall over, and it was a small pile. For many, many reasons, main one is budget. Now, why am I saying that? Well, that's because Jimmy's Bastards is from obviously from Image, and I really do wish I had gotten Volume 2, at least Volume 2, because I think in 2 volumes, the storyline was wrapped up. And unfortunately, the library does not have Volume 2, nor can I request a library gig, as this book is too old. And even then, I think they'd be like, we don't know what this book is. We know the author sells, but we're not sure this one's going to sell. And I use that in air quotes, sell, because it's not, library obviously don't buy books, you rent books. But they want to make sure that enough patrons, or other than there's one patron, is going to check out that book. Wolverine Old Man Logan. This held up 100%. This, I honestly want to say, is what got me into Mark Millar's writing, and what caused me to be, and what made me a Mark Millar fan. I really dig his writing. Even his Wolverine, I really dig. And honestly, this is one of those almost perfect comics, like 9.5 out of 10. Oh, and Jimmy's Bastards, 8 out of 10. But this is like a 9.5 out of 10, almost perfect comic. I don't really have an issue with it. I just feel like it's not a 10 out of 10. So I'll give it, honestly, I'd give it like a 9.8 out of 10. But I like to do 0.5, then round number, not anything, nothing in between. But 9.5 out of 10, 100% recommend this one. If you've not read it already, I'm actually going to keep this one vague. If you see Old Man Logan title, you kind of assume what it's going to be about. But it exceeded my expectations the first time I read it, and this time it obviously met the expectations. I didn't completely forget what happened in this book, but it is insanely engaging from start to finish. You could probably knock this one out in like 3 hours, and it'll feel like you only been reading it for an hour and a half. That's how great the pacing is. An absolutely phenomenal comic series. And I really do wish that I had gotten Enemy of the State, or just the omnibus in general, way back in the day, but it was out of print even back then. And I don't know why, but I've always thought he did more than just Enemy of the State and Old Man Logan for his Wolverine run. I don't count Ultimate X-Men, obviously. I'm talking main universe. Wolverine. Although even then, that's the Old Man universe, Old Man Logan universe. But still, that same Wolverine run. Yeah, I honestly don't know why so many people don't like Mark Millar's writing, especially Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan. I feel like even people that don't like his writing can at least acknowledge that Old Man Logan was really good. It's kind of like how I'm not a huge fan of Tom King, but even I can acknowledge that Superman Up in the Sky is a phenomenal Superman book, and it's and also a phenomenal Tom King comic. It's just that the other way around. You guys knew what I was saying. I should have said it's a phenomenal Tom King comic, but also just in general a fantastic Superman comic. So there's your tie-in to a Superman movie, so I can put Superman in the hashtags. I wouldn't do that though. Ultimate X-Men Volume 1, also by Mark Millar. And this one is not as good as Old Man Logan, but I was not expecting it to be. The first time I read it, I really liked it. This time around, I also really dig it. I think this is an excellent first volume into the Ultimate X-Men universe. I feel like even people that consider the Ultimate Universe to be a failure, I think they acknowledge that the first two volumes of Ultimate X-Men were really good, and Ultimate Fantastic Four. Because nowadays, when you say like Ultimate Universe back in the 2000s, some comic fans that were collecting, especially ones that were collecting comics around that time, will probably groan when you mention it. But they will acknowledge that. But the common consensus seems to always be that Ultimate Spider-Man was consistently good. But then some people argue Ultimate X-Men wasn't that great, that it's horribly dated. Same with Ultimates. But then you have that small group of people that seems to be growing as the years go on that say, no, Ultimate X-Men, that was good for a few volumes, and same with Ultimate Fantastic Four. And Ultimates was actually really good, like all the way through it, except for the Mark Millar run, anyways. But I still think this is good. I'd give this an 8 out of 10. Also, it's above average. It's worth your time and money. I would say check out the omnibus. The two Venom books I'm just going to review back to back. Venom Rex and Venom Homecoming are both fantastic introductions. And again, like I've been saying for all these books, I really do wish I had the rest of this run. At least with Ultimate X-Men, it looks like the library has all of Ultimate X-Men. With these, they don't even have a whole lot of Venom in general. If they ever come out with an epic collection collecting all of this run, I will definitely look into getting that. Because even though we don't follow the same character for Volume 2 that we have in Volume 1, I still want to see where the story goes. Same with this Venom. Definitely this before that. And which one's my most favorite out of the two? I would honestly say this Venom book. This one, they're both fantastic. I would say around the same rating, but I would say this is closer to a 9 out of 10 than this is. So 8.5 then 8 out of 10. But nothing bad to say about either of these books. Even then, so people seem to not like Lee Price and consider him to be a bit too mean-spirited, and a bit too cruel, written that way. I mean, not the character himself, it's the way he's written is a bit too grimdark. I only vaguely remember hearing this about the character, but I honestly really like that character. He's kind of one of those characters you love to hate, and I like that in this book. Now, Eddie Brock is, while he's a great Venom host, and the classic Venom host that everyone likes to see come back, it is kind of yeah, of course I do, but it's kind of too much of one thing. That's why I like when they go to Flash, or goes to Lee Price, or Matt Gargan. Then we have 3 more. Okay. Last one towards just 2 Batman books. Technically all Batman books, the rest of them. Gotham Central. Now, when I started out this book, I thought to myself, is this one of those books that everyone loves because it was groundbreaking at the time it was released? And now it's a bit dated, and it's the first of its kind, so obviously people like it, but if someone that didn't grow up with it is going to read it and not like it as much. And I felt like that was going to be the case until I got to the babysitter storyline. And then it got insanely engaging and did not stop for 1 second. Even when that storyline ended, the momentum kept going. And this is one of the strongest starts to a comic series I've ever read in a long, long time. Now, again, you have the first, I want to say like five, or, well, actually, going to be five. The first, like, 3 or 4, the first, I would say there's like 3 story arcs in here. First one is engaging, but just kind of, there's a lot of dialogue in it, and it was kind of, the pacing felt very dated. But then as went along, got really damn good and like really damn captivating. Like one of those page turners. It was exactly what it was going for. It was going through that crime novel that everyone was obsessing over, and they like couldn't put this book down. They're going for that kind of crowd, and they completely excel with those other 2 storylines. Those final 5 or so issues. I wonder if I could tell just by flipping through it. I cannot really. Yeah, I can't tell. Even then, I wouldn't be able to tell. Like, I would just be a guessing game because the issues doesn't say issue 1. It just shows the cover. That's it. But yes, absolutely phenomenal stuff. If you have not read Gotham Central, do yourself a favor. Get either the omnibus or if they're in print, the trades. I understand if you're a trade guy more than an omnibus guy because there's only 4 of these and they're $20 each. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80 bucks, and that's just list price. Sometimes like places like Amazon will have them at a discount, and the other places will go to. And the final 2 are both Batman books, and I keep saying the same thing, but very strong start. Now, Detective Comics, I did read for the first time. This is my second time reading it, and the first time I read it, I didn't really like it at all, and I always preferred this one, like, leaps and bounds above, and I was like, this one is just kind of boring. Complete turnaround for Detective Comics. I actually think this is it's still not as engaging as this. I still prefer Batman and Robin, but definitely do not sleep on New 52 Detective Comics. I say this years after, almost over a decade after it came out. But I mean in the sense that when people go back to the New 52, and they ask people, oh, what are your preferred New 52 Batmans? Detective Comics should be mentioned in the same breath as Batman and Robin. Now, if you have to budget yourself, I would say Batman by Scott Snyder already, and then this run. And all the other New 52 titles. But this one should not be slept on at all. Should not be ignored at all. Definitely check this one out. But yeah, Batman and Robin is all around more engaging, has all around better, more consistent pacing. Detective Comics, the second volume especially, I'm kind of seeing like, yeah, this is probably why I was kind of turned off by this version of Batman, or by this writer. And I say this version, I mean like the way he was written, by the way that Tony Estino wrote him, and just this pacing in general. But pretty damn good. But one downside I'll get to it is kind of forgettable. There are certain plot points that are brought up in the next volume that I'm kind of like, okay, I really gotta rack my brain and remember what happened. It's one of those things they could have just had issue 7 start out where issue 8 started out, like not explain what just happened, and I wouldn't bat an eye. It's that kind of forgettable. But I do remember plot points. I remember who this character is. It's not like just introduce a character. I'm like, I completely forgot who this character was. Now, I know who the characters are. Of course, there's obviously Batman, but I mean, like, the new characters that are introduced. Like, there's these sisters, and I know who each one is and where that left off, and I know certain plot points, of course. But it's just kind of just the basics, It's one of those kind of forgettable comics. So Batman and Robin, absolutely must read. And it has some pretty high stakes for a comic that was a Batman spin-off, So it's technically not... Well, no, I would say it is... No, I'm not honest with that. But they both get an 8 out of 10. But this gets more like an 8.5 out of 10 than this one. So yeah, 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. And that is it. And hopefully next time it'll be the Library Comics haul video. No promises, though, because I don't know if I'm going to go. It all depends on when they come in. And what's kind of funny is I was thinking yesterday, 'cause one of them came in super early, and I was thinking to myself, how did I make it so I didn't have to go 2 weeks in a row? And I remembered, oh yeah, I used to email him. I used to email the librarian. And it was so funny that it's been that long, because usually where I work is right next to the library, like right down the street. So I just go after school or during lunch period, get the books, and then it was just the routine, day in, day out. Some days I had to go in the day after, and that's why I go to my lunch break. I wasn't able to get them the day before, because they just came in too late. But for the most part, it was after school. I pick up the books, and it was a nice little routine. And now that I'm off work for the summer, yeah, that's the one downside. One of the only downsides. I mean, I'd say the biggest downside. And then not seeing everybody, obviously, is another downside. But I have the phone for that. I would text them. Not all of them, so I have all their numbers, but the important ones obviously had their numbers. The ones I keep in touch with the most. But anyways, that, as I say, is that.